Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. And today, my guest is Nick Motichka. And Nick, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me and giving me this time and space today.
Ugh, I'm so grateful. I know nothing about you, and I'm excited to learn about you from your soul's perspective. So, you get to choose your own adventure today, and you can either, ask specific questions to start, of your soul, of any universal being, um, and or if you don't know a particular being you want to talk to, but you have a specific question, then they will show up and answer. Or I can start sharing from your soul, whatever works best for you.
Yeah, I think what resonates with me is you just sharing what you're getting from
Okay,
my soul and go from there.
sounds perfect. Okay, so let's see. Oh wow. Okay. I've never I've never seen this. So um there's lots of fire, but not like out of control fire. It's very hmm, it's like sacred fire, sacred ceremony through fire. And it's really interesting because there's a lot around you. And what I mean around you, it's like I'm seeing you sitting in the earth and the fire is behind you, in a semicircle. And why they're, oh, it's really cool because there's some amazing beings. Um, so Gaia, Mother Earth, everybody has a different name for her. I call her Gaia. Um, so she's the supporter of human life here and our physical existence, but she has a counterpart who is his Pan. I refer to him as Pan, and he ensures fertilization. So fertilization in the sense of bringing fulfillment to our intentions. And, the two work hand in hand. And what they're showing me is you're like a master in fertilization. So, and if we didn't have that understanding first of where that what that really means in the big picture, that could sound a little funny. But okay, okay. But it's it's more an understanding that you're really incredible at making things go from 0 to 500 like that. The challenge for you has been everything goes from 0 to 500, and you're like, oh, okay. And so what they're showing me is, this has been since birth. You're a natural in this area, and it's really challenging to be within the human physical form and the limitations because oftentimes, through connections with other people, they don't understand that you don't only see the vision, but you see and you feel. That's the difference too, is you'll see it and you'll feel it, and then you'll instantly know how all the pieces need to fit together to allow the vision to unfold. Like you're not even strategizing how to make it happen. It's just this has to happen and this and this and this. And then we would do this, this is going to happen. And so it's been so innate in you in so many areas of your life that it's tricky when you run into people who are like, oh, we're just going to take our time. And you're like, why? You know, even though you're not rushing, like that's the thing is you're not rushing. You just see how things are meant to come to pass, which is really cool. Um, and why I've never seen any human with this ability in your way. It just shows your depth of perspective, really on creation itself, which is quite fundamental. And when you understand that concept in the way that you do, you're able to touch people in ways that they didn't even know they needed. And this is really where you're coming to now. And I can see how, like, they're showing me, it's almost like 4 or 5 different um, careers. It's like you've done so many different things and you're like, yep, okay, this is fun. This is great. And now I need to have a new experience. And, there's a lot of people who um, don't understand when you're done with something, how easy it is for you to walk away because they feel like you're leaving them behind. And really that's not even in your radar. You're just like, oh, this thing, I'm going to do this next. And then I'm going to do this and I'm going to try this. And so there's a few things where you can see how your connection with other people, um, it's sometimes challenging because they're misinterpreting what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're feeling in your intent, in your just where you are and where you're going. Does this make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's just really interesting too. I'll just give you a little bit of
Perfect.
backstory.
That so
So,
helps me.
yeah, I spent my entire adult life in law enforcement. So I was a police officer for 17 years. I've been out of that work now for just a little over 2 years. And then when you mentioned the fire behind me, so since that time, so ended up with PTSD and going through dealing with all of that, those traumas, and then childhood stuff as well. And am just at a place where I've had such a profound experience that I just feel really called to help others and be of service to others on their own journey. And so as part of that, I've started a program learning. It's called Earning the Light, and it's sacred alchemy. I'm learning from a Algonquin medicine man, and we use Great Fire, is what it's called, and it's Gaia, source, it's energy, it's everything, all encompassing that we use for healing. And so, yeah, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, all right, she's tapped in.
And fire is 100% hands down your element. It's the one that you connect with most out of all elements that you've learned and you've offered and will always be your go-to because you know how to contain it. And that's they're showing me it's the understanding of the containment. You know how to contain the magic. And this is where the difference with your approach, Nick, than anyone else is you seek to learn, not to control. And most seek to control so they can get what they want, right? And so that is your alchemy. That is your magic is the inherent understanding of, you know, how is this meant to be used? How is this meant to flow? How is this meant to happen? And even in Hmm. And this is why your career in law enforcement in particular was inherently challenging because you were consistently coming up against a system that wanted to control. And you're
Yeah.
like, but we don't have to do that. Why don't we just see it this way? And that's when, the challenge is recognition that when we believe in something and we choose to become a part of that something and we do everything we can to only then recognize that it's not actually built on purity, it's humbling and it's all of the things that you thought you knew are then presented to you in a sort of in your face kind of way. And so what they're showing me is the moment you really saw it, like there was a lot of there was a lot of not examples, but um there was a lot of moments, right, where you were like, oh yeah, okay, that doesn't fit, that doesn't fit. And then there was a moment where you were like, and it was almost like a punch in the gut, and they're showing me it was where you just your breath is gone, right? When you yeah. And it was like, ah, now what?
Yeah.
And the hardship with that is, you know, you you had to pick yourself up because that's when you recognize that there's no, you tried all of the different, I'm going to use the word traditional sort of approaches,
Yeah.
and they weren't working. And in fact, they were making they're showing me it's like the scar was opening up. It was widening and you were getting swallowed by that scar. And that's, you know, they the label of PTSD is it's an understanding that here's the thing. For you, it was your relationship with yourself, and they were trying to force you to see things in a way that it just wasn't true. And you had to find the courage to recognize that who and what you thought was there to support you was what was swallowing you up.
Yeah, for sure. And I just have this deep sense as you're speaking of just how necessary that was too, for me to go through everything that I went through with the diagnosis and going through the traditional
Yeah.
therapies and all of that. Like I needed to go through that to have that lived experience in order to be able to help people on the other side, and if they feel called to do this work, because it's not for everyone, but if that calling exists, like this work, the energy work, and just again to open it up a little bit further, is on the other side of all those traditional therapies, I was very much at a low point in my mental health, and I had a knowing that there was something in plant medicines for me on my healing journey, and specifically psilocybin or magic mushrooms,
Yep.
which the irony of that is not lost in me, having spent my adult life
Right.
in law enforcement and specifically in drug enforcement with both the RCMP and with the Calgary Police Service. And so it's so obvious now on this side with that perspective, just that knowing that I had to go through and experience all of this again to help other people on their own journey.
And yeah. Eh, So, oh gosh, I love this. Yeah. So it's really interesting because when you started talking, I saw the snake come up. And so, when you were expressing that you knew you had to go through it because it was that phase, right? It was your moment where you had to see the truth. And we do. We got to hit the bottom in order to see it, right? And anyone who's awakened has hit that bottom. And it's just you can't not um in one capacity or another. And we all have it in unique and ways that are so specific, right? Like yours was so specific. But what they're showing me is the snake medicine. Um, and it's so cool because I love um, the native energy. I've worked with them for years and I have a native name. I'm very blessed to be in that community in different capacities. And so it's rare that you see such strong medicine. And what I'm feeling in you and what I'm seeing is, this snake medicine it is your fire. And that's, because it winds through you, but it's your strength and your ability. So when they come together, but it was gosh, he keeps showing me his face, and it's like the snake is like right in my face. He's looking at me, and it's just like that was the moment you came alive. When you were at your darkest, it's when you came alive. It's like, the Nick that you had been your whole life was this illusion that had been created by others, and then you carried it. And it was that moment where you were looking yourself straight in the eye, and you had to decide who you were going to be. And that's when yes, right, you stepped into the other side, so to speak. So it's beautiful. And now the snake walks with you. It's really cool because it's almost like I see him coiled around your arm and then his head is sitting on your shoulder. Like that's how it feels, And so even when you're sitting at the fire, the snake is always with you. And that well, you know, snake medicine, you can, you know, but at the end of the day, what he is there specifically for you for is to always remind you and to help you to see the lies and the truth. So that because it's you're really good at spotting lies. Really good. Like, wow. And it's in your ability to see the lies that the truth is revealed.
Right.
And most people don't know how to do that. That's your biggest specialty is most people think they're working towards something. And the reality is you can't see the truth until you see the lies.
Right. Yeah. And just as you're saying, and I'll just speak as things are coming to me as well. So that was actually one of the first things when I got, so law enforcement was like my dream. Like that was it. That was what I was going to be for the rest of my life. And then I got into the job, and then it was deception and lies and the energy around that that like really brought me down. And I immediately found myself not loving my job at all. And it was, I think a big part of it was that piece and that the energy of that, and being forced to be in that and having people lie to me every day of my working career, right? Like from the old lady at the traffic stop who just rolled through a stop sign lying to me, to the, the person that whatever's minimizing their involvement in whatever situation I was called to. It was that really just I didn't enjoy. But it's cool to hear how again necessary that was for me on my own journey.
100% because that's your mastery. And when you allow yourself to really own that, especially in the next 3 to 5 years, everything, your world is about to explode because you're meant to be doing that. And it's, you know, the greatest impediment to our own advancement is our ability to lie to ourselves.
Right.
Nobody knows that better than anyone who's been through the journey.
Yeah.
And so that is, that's your special place in the world right now. That's what you're able to help people see is the lies they tell themselves. And not because, and this is the thing, right? Is it's not because you're there to tear them down. It's because you're there to lift them up. And that was, you know, integral to your intention to want to be, you know, in law enforcement. It was, I want to lift people up. I want to make, you know, I want to make the world a better place. And when you realize that that's not what that system does, it's not what it's built for. That's the part, it was heartbreaking, right? And so now you know and you can feel that not only are you meant to be, you know, seeing people for who they are, you have this incredible ability to lift them up to where they're meant to be and where they're meant to be going just by helping them see the lies they're telling themselves. And it's incredible, incredible. So I feel like they want to do a ceremony for you, which is really interesting. Yeah. So we haven't done this one yet on the podcast. This is fun. We usually have this in our private communities, but okay, you know, um, are you open to that?
Very much.
Okay. So, um, oh man. So it's really interesting because a lot of we're going to have everyone today, which is very interesting. A lot of the native ancestors, so the um, gosh, they are like as soon as they started to come in, and then as soon as I said them out loud, they all just like rushed in, and it's they're creating this sacred circle. And what's so beautiful is, mm, do you have native heritage
Not in this
in this
bloodline that I'm
physical
aware
life?
of,
Okay.
but past life
You've
stuff
got a
for
lot of
sure.
history there, 100%. There's something you're going to do. It's about you partnering with the Native community. There is a partnership that is meant to happen, if it hasn't already. And if you're not aware of it, it is going to wow, um, because of the, um, God, this is, okay. So I've never, um, so you mentioned Alberta, I think. Did you say Alberta? Are you still
Is
in Alberta?
I am, yeah.
Okay. So locally, I feel like, so they keep showing me meth, meth, meth. They keep saying that word. So, and I, again, these are so far outside of my awarenesses. So bear with me, okay? Um, what they're saying is, there is, uh, like a pandemic, so to speak, and it's being blamed on meth, but that's not the problem. And the problem is a lack of inherent humanity. It's extremely emotional what they're showing me. And that's what needs to be uncovered. And it feels like you're going to be a part of uncovering that truth so that those people can go free. Because it does feel like, it's going to sound horrible, but it does feel like in an offhanded way, the government is actually feeding that meth addiction. There is something really wrong with the system, and it feels like you have the resources to uncover that, but in a way that's actually going to help instead of creating closed doors. Because, y- yeah, you just have such a beautiful, um, gentle approach, but also wisdom. Um, they're using the word wisdom beyond your years. And what that literally means is, you know, you have wisdom of lifetimes behind you, right? So it's not like you're only going in with what you know right now. You're going in with a full 360-degree universal perspective of this is the issue, and this is the solution, and we need to come together to go from here to there. We're
Yeah.
not here to strategize, we're here to make it happen. And that's really interesting because that's what they started with. So um the the reason that these ancestors are here is first and foremost, they want to acknowledge your rite of passage. And what that means is they're they're recognizing that you're recognizing yourself, because um, that's the native approach, right? It's very um, it's pure.
Yeah.
It's very pure and it's very simple. And this is where most of humanity gets it wrong, right? It's that I've done this, come see me because I am great, right? It's a recognition that when you know who you are, you take action. And it's not about, spreading the word. That's not the action. The action is the doing of fulfilling the goal, right? And that's what you do innately. So, and um there's one gentleman in particular, and he is speaking for an entire nation, an entire band, and he's calling you his brother. And yeah, and it's like you have the whole force of, this nation with you. It's unbelievable. It's so beautiful. But he also wants you to know that they have your back. And things are going to start to happen, like unexpected things. And it's in physical as well as through energy. So you're going to start to receive more visions, a lot more visions. Um, and the way they're showing me, it's like uh, it will be almost three-dimensional because you'll be doing something and it will slide in. And it's like, ah, okay. Okay. So what he's showing you is um, the way he's saying it is that's the medicine. That's the medicine. And it's not like you need to take the plant medicine or you don't need to take anything. You've already chosen to participate. So the medicine will always be there. And medicine in in their um, in their heritage, in their way of thinking, in their way of being is very much based on receiving wisdom and truth and guidance on how to restore that. Restore what's, and it's not even restore what's wronged, it's what's restoring things to what's right,
For sure.
right? And I think that even like he's showing me that's ultimately why you got into law enforcement is I want to restore what's right. It's not a focus on what's wrong. And when you got in and you realized, oh, this is a focus on everything that's wrong, and really the system is wrong itself. So everything
Yeah.
is just wrong on top of wrong.
Yeah.
Is that
Big
making
time.
sense?
For sure. And I just feel really called to share this story in this moment of
Please.
when I really came up against the system and like realized that I was a part of something that wasn't right. And so it happened, it was early 2019, and I was in a unit called the Gang Suppression Team. And so we were the arrest team for an undercover drug operation that we were doing to combat the meth problem in downtown Calgary.
Interesting.
And so being the arrest team, my role was to go in and arrest the people that had sold drugs to the undercover operators. So what I saw, which sounds like, I guess,
Look who you're
noble
talking to it.
and but what I actually saw was okay, so these undercover operators, which I've done that job too. I've been in that role in that undercover drug world, is they would go up to users in a downtown area, which is obviously, yeah,
Yeah,
people marginalized and just some real traumatized people, and would ask them for drugs. And so what they would do is they would chip off a small amount of what they had for personal use in order to support their own habit. So what we were doing, the police, we were turning drug users into drug traffickers and then arresting them and then high-fiving each other like we were doing this
right.
amazing work. And it just felt so terrible to me. And as I'm, still
Yep.
having to do this job, I would, as silly as it sounded to them and to me at the time, I was apologizing to them. I said, I'm sorry for what we're doing to you because we're not helping you. We're not helping anyone. Like this is
Oof.
this is a farce. And so it was that moment where I was like, that was the first time where it was really in my face, like, what am I doing? What are we doing? And I need to get out of this role.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, because that just helps me see how all the pieces they're sharing, it really comes together. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. It's remarkable how we have the exact experiences we need to fulfill, right? To fulfill why we came here. Wow. So, um, you're you're married? Yes.
Yes.
You need to let your wife in on what you're doing, and you need to prepare her for the bullying that's going to happen. Okay. She needs to know, do not try to protect her. She's super strong. She can handle herself as long as she knows the whole story. Okay. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but she can't do it if you don't tell her and you don't tell her everything. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah, you're awesome when you work together as a team, like
For sure.
unstoppable. And she's going to have a lot of ideas, and she's going to want to participate. And it's being open to that side where things may look um, dangerous, but it's not how she sees it. Okay. So she's got an equally as big heart as yours. And you know, her I don't love the word desire, but her willingness to participate is stronger than you know right now. That's what they are saying. And it's part of her destiny as well. And you know, there's other dynamics at play as far as family and that kind of thing. It will all happen in the right time and in the right way. Okay. So it's not worrying, it's trusting. And this is where, you know, it's constantly coming back and making sure you remind yourself that, you know, you have support. You have like these, you have this entire Native Nation behind you. And you have, yeah, they're showing me that there's such a sour taste in their mouth as a result of everything that's happened. Um, it's not only in the city, it's in the whole province,
Yeah,
because there is an epidemic of pain and suffering, and that's what you're flushing out. Okay, so it's recognizing that as you do this, the closer you get, the more resistance you're going to get.
for sure.
Okay. Um, when you need guidance or you need insight, you can always call me. Um, 100%. And we don't have to do it this way because there's going to be a time where it needs to not be done this way because there's certain things. Um, that being said, you're going to be, um, they're showing me like in the news a lot. And for your vision and your perspective, okay? It's being okay with that and being that, letting that happen in a way that right now you're not thinking it's going to happen. Okay. So it's almost like it's going to start one way and then it's going to shift. And it's like, oh, it's just going to take off in this direction. And you're like, okay, all right, that's what we're doing now. Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
it's being,
definitely have had that sense for a while, and it's really interesting too that we're really going down this indigenous, like that's been the focus, and I've felt that for a long time, and I haven't made those connections yet, so I'm excited for that because I feel really strongly about helping, well, wherever I can, and specifically those communities. They've just been, yeah, it's been really rough since we showed up for
right.
them, and I'm, yeah, just really called to whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, and that resistance you spoke of, I like have this keen sense too, is when I'm bumping up against that, and specifically external resistance, is like that's how I know I'm on the right path.
100%. And they are showing me, yeah, I have goosebumps. That's why I'm looking down at my arm. You're going to have to deal with, I can't believe we're talking about this, but this is where we're going. Okay. You're going to have to deal with Trudeau himself at one point or another. And it won't be very long into your journey because, quite frankly, you're going to piss him off because you're making change.
Right.
And so it's remembering, like, you have such a beautiful, gentle way in which you communicate, but most people don't understand that there's steel underneath. And, you know, steel in the sense of your resolve and when you're committed to something, you're all the way in. You know, your wife knows that. She understands that through and through. But most people don't understand that about you. And you know, that's the snake, is they don't understand how strong you actually are and what resources you actually have. So there's a, yeah, this is what you've always been meant to do, and it's going to happen. And they're showing me it's going to move seemingly slowly for the next few months, and then all of a sudden something's going to happen, and it's just going to go whoosh, and it's going to take off, and then all of it, like I said, and then you're going to be switching directions, and it's like, okay, um, yeah. So how you feeling so far?
I'm feeling really good. No, I'm here for all of this for sure, and I'm excited for the future and just really stepping into this role and bring it on, Trudeau.
I love it. A lot of it, again, is going to start with you putting the lies in front of everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of it. And
Yeah.
it's going to be um, so when they were showing me, when you were talking about, the indigenous, the native communities, what I kept hearing was the forgotten ones.
Yeah.
And, you know, the problem with the world we live in right now is we've been segregated as humans into different um, groups,
Yeah.
masses of humans who, and then of course, I mean, we don't need to go into the histories. We know mutilization, is that even a word? God, that's it's funny when I'm talking and the energy's there and words come out and I'm like, I don't even know if that's a word, but we're gonna go with it. Um, there's been so much suffering as a result of control and manipulation around the world. But you know, they want you, you're focusing on this country. And that's what's going to happen is, and you're going to find that the right people are going to come out of the woodwork, so to speak, to help you and to support you and to make your job, and I use that word very loosely because it's a mission. It's a higher calling. It's,
Yeah.
but it's what you're physically doing on your day to day, how you're making this happen. And they're going to come out and they're going to start to help you. Um, and it's like they're going to pave the way in some areas and open doors that, because of relationships you've already built. Okay. So, and some of them, you already know, some of them will do so, but they won't want anyone to know that they're doing it. So they will want to protect. And you have that deep level of respect for humanity. And it's in recognition that there's a deep recognition that this person is helping, but there's also a deep recognition that your job is not to reveal them, right? And so, I mean, that goes without saying for you. They want me to share it in this way because the people that are hearing this story need to get a better vision of who you are, because that will help them know how to help you and where they can help. Um, so let's see. Gosh, there's so much going on. Yeah, it's going to be a long road. Um, and it's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be joyful. And you understand the long game. You understand um, the despair and the darkness and how to handle that now, which is part of why you had to go through it yourself.
For sure.
Okay? Because the people that you're helping are going to feel broken. Even though they're not, they're going to feel that way because how can you not when you've been kicked so many times? And it's recognition that even as you're going through this journey, you're not there to you're not there to help them and to pick them up. You're there to right the wrong. And the truth is what's going to set them free. It's you feel the difference, right? It's you're not there to fix them, to help them because they're strong enough and ready and willing to help themselves. But they need someone to highlight the truth, which
Yeah.
means the lies have to come out. Does that make sense?
For sure, for sure. And then I'm just thinking too that all healing is self-healing, and what I'm offering through sacred alchemy and the different and breath work and different things that I'm currently helping people with is, yeah, I'm not doing anything per se other than I'm making that healing energy available, and then it's up to them to accept it, and then they heal themselves. And so, yeah, I just have a keen awareness of that as well.
Yeah. It's an acceptance and a choice to participate,
Absolutely. For
right? Just
sure.
like
Yeah.
anything, right? You had to choose to participate in your life in a different way, which meant you had to choose to see how everything you were doing was impacting and affecting you, right? And that's now you have that leverage. You have that. So wisdom is experience and knowledge together, right? Otherwise, it's just a bunch of stuff you know if you haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
And you have the wisdom and you're holding that wisdom in a way that most people won't understand because of the darker things you've seen. And what they mean by that is you've seen the depths of manipulation and meanness that humanity is capable of. There's no other, it's horrible. And you've seen the depths of that in ways that most people can't imagine. And so you're better equipped. That's why you're so well equipped to take on this role and to be a part of it. So, okay, so you're being gifted an eagle feather for vision and guidance. Yeah. You can close your eyes if you want. If you want to see it, you want to feel it, you can, when you hear it again, whatever makes your heart happy. They are they're performing a smudge, like a smudging ceremony currently to it's remove how they're saying it for you specifically. It's removing the toxins of civilized living. Um, and it's being able to strip you of the limiting beliefs that hold us prisoner. And so it's like you're being bestowed with the vision of the hero's quest, right? The hero is not the person who does better than everyone else. It's the one who recognizes there is a calling and you must rise to that calling. And so the eagle feather is for vision, it's for strength of vision and a reminder and recognition of your calling. So when you need to be reminded of what your calling is, it will help you go within to find that courage and strength in the darkest moments. It's being able to, yeah, now they're singing around the fire. They're doing a dance and drumming around the fire. And again, it's cleansing. The way they say it is cleansing the soul, but the soul is not dirty. It's cleansing the physical side so it reconnects with the soul. Can hear them all. It's quite beautiful. Yeah, and the fire, I can even hear the fire crackling. You can smell it. And now the water. Oh, wow. Okay. So it's being, um, it's like you're being sprinkled with water to symbolize the purity of your quest that you're going into. Mm, it's beautiful. And now that was um, an elder, and now uh, the entire band is coming. So now when they're coming in, it's men, it's women, it's children. Um, and they're, they never gave up hope. They knew you'd come. And it's not that you're going to save them. Again, you're working with them. And when you find it's like you're going to be walking down the street one day and you're going to lock eyes with this man. He will be in physical and you will know you're meant to connect with this person. Um, how you feeling? That's a first.
Really, yeah, really good. No, that was beautiful for sure.
Yeah. You're you're at such an incredible place in your journey and it's so powerful. And the children are the ones that are, I can hear them, they're thanking you because they're the ones that are going to benefit the most because that's the next generation. And it's remembering that it's that generation that will then create the next generation. And so the work you're doing, it's perspective. It's not just for the person that's in front of you. It's recognition that this is for everyone who comes forward,
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Generational trauma and lineage is
which you
something
also
I'm,
know.
yeah, very aware of. And I want to just tell a quick thing here, just because for
Yes.
me, I've heard that generational trauma for such a long time, and it never really hit home until I heard about this study. And so it was in the US, and what they did is they took a mouse and they exposed it to the smell of cherry blossom and then shocked it with electricity. And of course, it had a measurable stress response in its body, cortisol, and all the different stress hormones. And then they took that mouse, bred it, and then exposed its offspring just to the smell alone of cherry blossom, no shock. And for 14 generations, those mice had a measurable stress response to the smell alone, having never been exposed to the trauma itself. And so that, yeah, that's it.
Everything is stored in our cells.
Yeah,
Everything. And it's people like you that are changing what's stored in our cells, right? It's every human who wants to see truth, wants to help truth be revealed. And for you, your journey is it's not going to be easy, but you never looked for easy in the first place. So,
no, no,
it's you're like, okay, that's fine. It's not, you're not nervous by it, you're excited. And
for sure.
that, right? Like that to me speaks volumes about what they shared, but also who you are as a human. So, it's incredible. Um, so do you have any specific questions or any questions at all?
I guess the first thing that comes to mind is just like the connections and like, do I be patient? Do I push? Do I just allow? That would
Okay,
be my main
I like
question at this point.
that. I feel like it's almost like he's going to seek you out. Um, it's the first connection with one of the elders. So it will be a representative that will um, seek you out in one way or another. Um, and I mean, you're so easy to connect with. So, you know, there's nothing, there's no, they're not giving you any like do this or do that, and be this way. It's just, you're going to know, you're going to be like, oh, okay, he's here. Right. And it'll be that simple. Um, yeah. And it's interesting because you're going to create a team behind the scenes, the two of you together, because as you deep go into your conversations and you deepen them, you know, you'll both know, okay, this is what we need and this is what we need. And then those people will continue to show up, whether they're in your vision, right? You'll have that, oh, this is who it is. Okay, great. And then I mean, it's like he's going to become one of your best friends, right? As you work through this mission. And he's been on the mission now for, I want to say his whole life, yes, but for the last 15 to 20 years. He's already been working behind the scenes, but he keeps coming up against um, blocks he can't get past because of his background and because of the way the system is set up. And so that is also a huge, you understand the way the system's set up, but you also understand how to work with the system to get, to get through to the goal in the bigger picture. But you're going to be changing the system, which is why you're going to come up against, yeah. Oof.
Yeah, I love it so much because I mean our systems at large are just we're just really being shown how horribly
Yep.
broken they are. And it's
Every day.
for for me, I'm almost excited by the chaos of it because it's everything coming to the surface and coming into our awareness and into our consciousness so we can transmute it into something beneficial for people because everything's
Yes.
been set up for generations, not for our benefit. And that, yeah, I just know that that's why I'm here is to help with that process.
Yeah. And you're going to find that as a result, it's almost like you're creating a brotherhood. Um, and there's going to be a reconnection of uh, humanity in men.
Yeah.
And I know that that sounds a little bit dramatic, but it's this recognition that the way they're saying it is the male counterpart of um, our race is has sorely forgotten its roots, and it has been morphed into this being of control and manipulation and superiority when uh, it's lost its humility. The actual, you know, male aspect of this, the entire human race, the species of humanity.
For
And
sure.
so that's really, at the heart of it, that's your higher calling is restoring that inner awareness of self, right? And there's a lot of talk even in every, right? You've got every, God, when you think about it, right? Every one of the four main systems that are holding us back, right? The medical, the financial, the education system, and the and religion. So those four right there, right? They support and make sure that humanity doesn't remember who we are.
Yeah.
And the government oversees all of them and makes sure that they all stay in place. That's really what the government is for. And then there's one governing body for all the governments in the world. And so it's deep recognition that that's who you're going to be taking on. Okay. And yeah, you're going to see things and become aware of things that even now are that don't even seem possible. They're going to be so not good. Evil is the word, but it's remembering that you know how to heal you and how to make sure that you stay sane and balanced and nurtured through this. Okay? You have that, but you make sure that you reach out to the right people when you need to get what you need to make sure that you're always restoring yourself. Okay?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember years, a long time ago, before I even got pregnant, and I used to work with the police on serial killer cases. And for me, I can be inside of the victim, but also inside of the perpetrator. I don't even know what the word is. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The person who's not doing good things.
Yeah.
And people would say to me, "What do you see?" And you can't talk about those things to other people because they're going to walk around with it in their head and they're going to keep seeing it. The reality is, I went through the training I needed energetically first so that I knew when those things come in, how to deal with them. That's why you had to go through the things you went through so you know how to deal with them, but you have to make sure you deal with them right away, every time. That needs to be your process because if you let any of it build up, then it's going to fester in you and that's going to impact your family and your home. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're you're already making a huge impact on humanity. And I thank you because, yeah, because we need to remember who we are. And, you know, if you can help restore the truth of, you know, how men were really meant to participate in this physical world while also just taking on the entire methamphetamine challenge in, you know, the country. But we'll start with one province at a time. Like it's humbling. It's incredible. And I just want to say thank you.
But yeah, you're very welcome. And thank you for, yeah, for just being you and just doing what you feel called to do. And in so doing, that is what has the greatest impact for sure. Just that authenticity and alignment. And I can just really feel that from you. So thank you as
Thank you.
well.
Thank you. It's yeah, I remember when I committed to doing this, I was like, okay, I'm going to have conversations that are uncomfortable. And, you know, and even today, like there are things where I'm like, do we say that? Do we not say that? And I'm like, well, it's coming up, so we're going to say it. We're going to put it all out there because if it wasn't meant to be, it wouldn't be coming, right? And so it's pretty, but yeah, and you have such a gift of making awkward conversations seem normal. And what I mean by that is that's part of your job. That's part of what you do, right? Like it's just you're so calm about it. So that's what's going to, yeah, it's like they're not even going to know what hit them. That's the coolest part is like you're just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going in, and all of a sudden, bam, and everything's changed, and they're like, it just happened. That what we,
Yeah.
right?
Authenticity, that's what happened, and it's one of it not one of it is the highest frequency, and we as humans can just feel that, and it just hits different, and it just has a real impact whether you're into, frequency or
Yeah,
vibration or anything. It just hits different. And yeah, it's just really cool to be in the presence of someone who is in their authenticity. And I think that's the key going forward. There's just so
yeah.
much of the opposite in our world, and that's something that I'm keen to be a part of changing.
Yeah, and peel back those layers, right, of everything that just doesn't belong so that what is meant to be there can be seen, can be
Mhm.
shown, right? It's, yeah. I mean, I always look at it too as like integrity. You know, for me, it's like universal integrity, right? And it's one of these things where I have access to this information because my integrity is up here. And
For sure.
so I'm, you know, they give me the information and I'm given, I don't know, all the same kind of thing. But it's one of those things where when I first started, right, people wanted to, and I'm sure you ran into this in your in both careers that you've sort of in all the different areas, right? It's people want to know what they can get from you and how they can use it to get ahead in their own life rather than looking at the information and the wisdom as a greater understanding of self so that they now know a better way to participate, right? Do you know what I mean? It's a different vibe. It's a different energy when people are, you know, you know what I mean, right? Yeah, it's very cool. You have such a beautiful and pure heart. So, is there anything else you'd like to know at the moment?
There's, yeah, nothing else is really coming to me right now. Yeah, I'm feeling good and inspired and empowered and ready to take on the challenges that are coming, and I'm here for it. And well, we all are. So 8 billion of us souls on this planet right now. Highest number that we're aware of course. And we all chose to be here during this time for this transformation. There's never been a planet that has gone this far into the darkness and is coming out of it, and that's what's happening right now. Is the collective consciousness is rising. It just is. And with that, there's going to be a lot more chaos and turmoil, and I'm I'm here for it all because it's all part of it. It's always darkest before the dawn and all these cliches,
Yes,
and
but it's true.
that's what we're in right now.
Yes. I love that. All in. All in.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I have a lot of optimism for the future, and I don't have a lot of concrete evidence for that other than just it's just a knowing that I have deep in my heart that I'm not here to have the same struggles and the same corruptions and the same, dark things that have been happening to humans for millennium to continue. That's just not why I'm here this particular lifetime. So yeah, I'm just excited for the future and to connect with people that are on a similar mission and yourself included in that for sure.
I love that. It's it's beautiful. It's so true. So for anyone who wants to get in touch with you, who wants to work with you, or who wants to help you in this mission that's been revealed today, where do we find you?
For sure. So I'm on social media, Instagram and the usual for sure. I'll give you the link to put in the show notes. So
Perfect.
that's probably the best way is yeah, through social media or email or yeah, those would be the best ways.
Okay, perfect. Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. And if you have anything that comes up on your journey, please reach out and come again. Come visit us again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for everything you're doing for this rising collective.
Thank you. It's fun. It's fun being able to see and participate in other people's journeys, right? And see it from the soul side and the universal perspective. To your point, it gives hope and it helps me. I think it helps all of us see that there is hope, there is possibility, and it's already happening,
For
which is
sure.
really cool. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this conversation, learned something, or received any benefit that you believe will improve your life, subscribe to our channel so I can serve you better by attracting unique guests and starting even bigger conversations. If you know you're meant to change the world, head on over to michellevickers.com, where innovators and thought leaders go for guidance, wisdom, inside information, and support they can trust. Until next time, stay curious.